Does it say I am up and live? There we are. We are up and live. Hi, Rabbi Brian. It says so right there. This is the Saturday service. This is August the 26th, 2023. We will get back to this quote in a moment. I am joined by a bunch of people, and let me say hi to the people. I'm going to pull them up on the screen, but let me welcome you. If you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, you can put comments up and we will see them. I'm going to start the comment thread, open that up. If you're on Zoom, you can put you can put chats in, you can write in the chat or put chats in the chat, and we will see those. I don't monitor those. I thank Maria, and anyone who's listed there as a co-host, you can ask them if you have any questions, if this is your first time here. Glad to see the people who are here. I'm going to try to put all of your faces up so you can wave. So here's some of the people. There's the people. People wave. Thank you so much. And we try to keep our microphones open so this can stay as a dialogue, and this is not a everyone's open to chat. I'm going to first welcome me back. I was away last week. I was in Ireland with my family, and we had a wonderful, wonderful time. Apparently everybody in Ireland speaks English. I understood what they were saying most of the time, but my golly gosh, was that accent, especially up in the northern parts, particularly different than the way that I speak English. I wanted to show you guys some photos, but my computer is not playing well with me, so hopefully I can get those pictures up for next week and share them with you then. We had started, we had already been discussing a little bit before I started the broadcast this quote, which there's a quote attributed to Charlie Chaplin that looks a lot like this. It is not a Charlie Chaplin quote, but it looks like this, and it says this. I'm going to read it through once, and I'd like to ask you to pay attention, see if the words up here make sense to you. The first one says, "When I loved myself enough, I quit settling for too little. When I loved myself enough, I came to know my own goodness. When I loved myself enough, I began taking the gift of life seriously and gratefully. When I loved myself enough, I began to know I was in the right place at the right time and I could relax. When I loved myself enough, I felt compelled to slow way down, and that has made all the difference." When I've loved myself enough, all of these things happened. And the implication is that we all could get to a place where we love ourselves enough that we could have all. So it's an if-then. So there's I can't remember the two. Anyone remember what the two parts of an if-then statement are called? The something and the something. Anyone? Bueller?
The antecedent something?
It's the condition and something.
We're going to call it the part A and the part B. We're going to use the very fancy terminology here. There's the part
or the
A.
part I and the part T.
There's the first half and then the second half. So if I love myself enough, are all these things true? If I love myself enough, have you found this? Let me just ask you, and let me look at your faces for nods and answers. When you have loved yourself enough, you have quit settling for too little. When you love yourself enough, and I see some nods happening, when we love ourselves enough, we stop settling for too little. And it might be a sign that we aren't loving ourselves enough if we are settling for too little. That might be sobering. When I love myself enough, this is the second one. When I love myself enough, I come to know my own goodness. I came to know my own goodness. When I love myself enough, I come to know my own goodness. When I love myself enough, I begin taking the gift of life seriously and gratefully. Yeah. When I love myself enough, and this is number 4, and this is we're gonna trajectory off of this one. When I love myself enough, I began to know I was in the right place at the right time and I could relax. Yeah. I see some people are like, I see that. I think that's true for us all some of the time. The fourth one, when I love myself enough, I began to know I was in the right place at the right time and I could relax. So let me ask you, do you feel right now, are you in the right place right now?
Yep.
You feel like you're in the right place right now? Is the right time? We're here. And you can relax. And this, Afia ran the service last week, and I'm so appreciative to Afia, and thank you all for, did I enjoy not being here for a week, and I'm so thankful for Afia. But this is a topic Afia had us talk about last week, was this idea of belonging. Do you feel like you belong? And who is the group with which you belong? And that's this fourth one here. When I love myself enough, I began to know I was in the right place at the right time and I could relax. Do you feel like you belong and you're in the right place at the right time? Let me ask it this way. Do you feel like you're doing that more than you did 10 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Is the you of today more in the right place, more at the right time, and more able to relax than the you of 10 years ago?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Amen. Can you imagine the you 10 years from now?
Oh, God.
Only very.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
So here's a question. What is keeping us from feeling like we're in the right place at the right time and that we can relax? What is keeping us from feeling we're at the right place at the right time and that we can relax? I'll change the question. Do you feel like you belong in this group right now? Let me see a show of hands or a nod or something. Do you feel like you're in the right place? This is your group? Why? How do you know that? What lets you know you're in the right place right now?
I recognize a lot of people.
You recognize people. Okay. What lets
Because I'm here.
Because I'm here. Now, I don't feel that way in all places, but Nancy Jo, what makes you feel comfortable to be here? How do you know you're welcome here?
Well, to sound a little woo-woo, I believe the universe is unfolding as it should. And I landed here, so I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah.
I don't generally feel uncomfortable places. I know what that feeling feels like, and then I'll leave because
You don't feel comfortable, right?
I suppose. But I like to stick around and find out why I got directed here.
Okay, wonderful. So if I go back to this quote here, it's that you love yourself enough that you can feel comfortable until you go, yeah, I'm not really super comfortable here. I think I'm going to move on.
Yeah. And comfortable is not a comfortable word for me. I mean, oh gosh, I learned so many years ago in business, to get through life, you have to be comfortable feeling uncomfortable. So
Yes.
I guess discomfort. What I would use instead is, I don't know, I just don't really like it here. I think I'll go eat lunch.
Okay.
I think you know what I'm saying.
It's just there's a feeling of I feel comfortable, I don't feel comfortable. Let me ask other people, how do you know you're comfortable here? What makes you feel like you belong? You feel like you belong? Do you? Well, it's going to be a hard question to say, no, I don't feel like I belong, because then you have to participate, which is doesn't exactly work. We're skewed here. Go ahead, Candace.
Because I feel relaxed.
Yeah. So I feel relaxed. I'm comfortable here. I'm not sitting up, and I'm not. That the fact that you feel relaxed gives you a sense that you feel like you belong.
because I can express myself.
I feel comfortable here because I can express myself. I know I'm in the right place. I feel relaxed enough. I feel like I can be heard. Go ahead, Bob.
I don't feel like I need to do something different.
Ah, okay. I'm comfortable. I'm relaxed. I'm not thinking I'm in the wrong place. I'm not feeling off. Are there groups in which you don't feel comfortable? I'm asking everyone. Yeah, I'm sure the answer is there are places you don't feel comfortable. This quote, though, says, or it seems to imply, that if I love myself enough, I can always feel like I belong. Is that true?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I do.
Of course.
Chad, Lisa, there was some body expression. I don't know if you want to follow in with words there. I just saw your box move. No? You good? You want to say something? We can't hear you, though. You're on mute, so that makes it a little...
Let me get
You
back.
take you.
Okay. Yeah. No rush. No rush. Do we...
I feel like the word accept implies that I'm caring more about what other people think than what I think. So, I might get bored and leave. I mean, not here. That's not a personal dagger, but that I can feel accepted wherever I am because I accept myself.
Right. That's it. That, I think, is it. Is how do we... I can feel comfortable most places, and I feel more comfortable in more places as I get older and as I love myself more. I can feel more comfortable in more places as I get older and I start feeling more comfortable with myself. When I love myself enough, I began to know I was in the right place at the right time and I could relax. Go ahead, Emily.
When I find myself in some place that I'm bored to death, I just allow myself to get up and leave.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead, Ray.
I would also say that as you get older, you get more assured of who you are, and you care less about what others think about you.
Right. I'm more I remember, it's going to sound a little crude, and it probably is, but I remember being a kid and walking with my dad in the supermarket and him just letting a fart rip out. And I remember being just astounded that he could be that comfortable with himself. Like, that takes a certain amount of comfort to just walk through a supermarket and not care. Show of hands, how many of you are comfortable farting loudly in supermarkets? Don't answer that question.
So,
And which supermarket are we going to gather in with a cigarette lighter and see if we can make the building explode?
What we can do there.
Well, it depends if there's somebody else right next to you.
Fair enough. Well, thank you guys. Any other comments on this? I'm going to move us to a next topic, but let me read through it one more time. When I love myself enough, I quit settling for too little. When I love myself enough, I came to know my own goodness. When I love myself enough, I began to take the gift of life seriously and gratefully. When I loved myself enough, I began to know I was in the right place at the right time and I could relax. That's the one I think is just amazing. When I loved myself enough, I began to know I was in the right place at the right time and I could relax. When I love myself enough, I feel compelled to slow way down. And that has made all the difference. We got some people on Facebook throwing, I don't know if a whole bunch of hearts came up on that number 4 one. When I loved myself enough, I began to know I was in the right place at the right time and I could relax. So let me invite all of us who are here to know, and it's what Nancy Jo was saying, we're in the right place. You're in the right place right now. You can relax. You're in the right place right now, and you can relax. Let's take a moment to just be in the right place right now and relax. And that goes into the fifth one, is feeling compelled to slow way down. And that makes all the difference. I got two people's got hands up, Ray and then John.
Ray's muted.
Ray, you are muted.
I forgot to lower my hand, so it's John.
Go ahead. Thank you. Thank you, Ray. John.
I found myself thinking or wondering, is this a progressive list?
Uh-huh.
Do we move like, is it in steps, or is it it's a complete list and those are all expressions of similar kinds of things?
I don't.
That's just a curiosity.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I like the question, though. I like the question. I'm really just taken by the fourth one. When I love myself enough, I began to know I'm in the right place at the right time and I could relax. Jack, go ahead.
That, to me, that means you have a feeling that you have that love, but you can't keep. You've got to give it away. You have to give it away. That's what.
Say a little bit more. So when I love myself, you're saying that I can't do that without giving away love?
No, you can't keep love. Love is not meant to be kept.
Uh-huh.
It's meant to be given away. That's to me, that's called grace. You receive the grace to do that. And it's your responsibility. Yeah. You know, it's your responsibility.
Yeah, go ahead, Betsy. I like that too. Go ahead, Betsy.
It's like that song, Magic Penny. Love is something if you give it away. Give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away. You end up having more.
Yeah.
Oh.
Isn't that is such a true thing about love? It's the people who love the most have the most love. Yeah. And we have to love ourselves to be in the right time, and we can relax. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to table this for right now and move our conversation in a slightly different idea. Everyone likes to belong to a group, to feel like you're part of a group, to feel accepted as in a group. And I think we've done a wonderful job here on the Saturday service of having people gathering together and feeling like they are part of a community and that they belong. And I was thinking a little bit of a crazy thought.
What else is new?
Meg, you know you're not muted, right?
Oh. Well, what else is new?
Yeah. About feeling belonging and feeling, and there's a sense of feeling belonging, of a sense of belonging. And Meg, you just perfectly illustrated on it. That if you feel like you belong, you can make an oops, and it's okay. That there is, to go back to a word Jack used, there's a bit of grace. That if you belong to a group, the group's going to say, oh, they were trying. Oh, they made a mistake. It's okay. That there's a sense of belonging where we forgive each other. We hold out a little bit of extra love for somebody, that they don't have to be exactly perfect, that they don't have to be without any faults, that we can love people as they are.
It's safe.
It's safe. And you know how safe a group is based on how well that group tolerates mistakes. I'm going to say that again. You know how safe a group is based on how well that group tolerates mistakes.
I love that idea.
Say a little bit more, Meg.
Well, I can think of a couple of groups where I'm just plain nervous.
Yeah.
And when I stop and think about what happens when somebody makes a mistake, it's not ugly, but it's not relaxed, it's not accepting.
Yeah. And we all want to be part of groups that have spaciousness for mistakes. And I would say, even if it's just us and ourselves, right? It's just me, myself. How well do I tolerate my own mistakes? And question, how well do you tolerate the mistakes in other people? Do you think you could do it have a little bit more grace than you do?
It depends on the person.
Oh my goodness, isn't that true?
This is going to make me laugh, but I made a big mistake this afternoon of still being in the kitchen and now moving through to where I want to sit. So if you see funny things happening, you'll know why. Please forgive me.
Thank you for saying, Joy. And then, Joy, I can assure you that at least half of the people here are perfectly all right with you still being in the kitchen.
I know, but I'm not, because it's not comfortable. That's why I've moved.
So I made a mistake. I had a cancerous cells removed from my neck area, and they told me not to lift anything heavy for 3 weeks. So the beginning of our trip, I got to have my son carry my suitcase for me. Okay, no big deal. And then I made a mistake. They said don't do anything strenuous because they had put stitches in and they didn't want the stitches to undo. And then Emmett asked to arm wrestle me.
Oops.
Well, they said avoid being on a bicycle. They said avoid lifting heavy weights. They didn't say avoid arm wrestling your 16-year-old son.
I think they kind of assumed that you'd figure that one out for yourself.
Oh, I figured that one out for myself, John.
Later.
Did the stitches come out?
Something went wrong. Something went wrong, and there was a little blood. It's calmed itself down. Bodies are. Let's take a moment. Bodies are quite amazing. Like, I didn't do anything to make that blood get reabsorbed back into itself, but it was a little weird for a moment. Any which way. I want to get back to what Joy was saying. I have been beating myself up about arm wrestling my son. And I beat myself up and I said, well, you couldn't have known. Forgive yourself, Brian. Come on, you couldn't have known. But I couldn't forgive myself in the same way that Joy is. I argued with myself, and it kept coming back in my head of, Brian, you schmuck, you shouldn't have arm wrestled your son. And then I got better and better at coming with great speed to, but forgive yourself. But I wasn't able to forgive myself for probably 2-3 days. I knew I should, but I couldn't quite yet get there. We all make
sorry.
We all
this is Nancy Joe.
Do it, Nancy.
I read a great quote this morning. The author is Catherine Mansfield. I don't know. Anyway, it says, regret is an appalling waste of energy. You can't build on it. It's only good for wallowing in.
I agree with you. And I'm not going to castigate myself for having regret. I'm not going to beat myself up for having regret because I know I should have done something different. It's it's in the past. It's still there. I still do regret it. And I don't want to beat myself up for regretting it and say, oh, I shouldn't regret it, because I do. And that just came in, and it's natural. I'm still going to beat myself up some, but I don't need to give myself a full ass kicking for having made a mistake.
Yes, well, if we don't regret it, we don't learn the lesson from it.
Thank
but
you.
I,
Yes.
You know, I am a font of quotes, and I love the quote, if you must beat yourself up, do it with a feather.
Oh, I like that very much, Nancy
That's
Jo.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the same to you, Joy, and to me is, yes, we might not be exactly where we want to be. We might love ourselves enough, but we still might beat ourselves up a little bit with a feather. I'm not exactly where I wish I were. I like that very much.
Are you talking about regretting?
Regretting. Yes, yes. We are talking about regretting.
That's what I thought was hearing. Okay.
Okay, I just saw Joe had her hand up, and then I saw another hand, but I lost it. Go ahead, Joe. Oh, Ray, go ahead.
Okay. Here's my thought about what I'm hearing. Every time we do something that maybe isn't like our ideal, that's the best choice in any situation. That whole, and this is where people don't use Elizabeth Kubler-Ross enough, I think. The whole denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance process. Every time something happens like that, using that dabda thing is the way through it. Like no one can just go instantly, oops, switch, gone. Like that process is how I get to acceptance of whatever happened every single time, no matter how big or little the thing is.
And I will thank you for bringing that up, that it is a process. I want to go to Ray, and then I'm going to come back to what you were just talking about and fill us all back in. Thank you for bringing that in, Joe. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, I'm wondering if nothing had happened to your neck, if you'd arm wrestled, everything had been fine, would you still can hold on to this thing? Or would you just said, okay.
Well, I think it would have mattered also, Ray, to be honest. It would matter if I had won the arm wrestle or not.
No, not the fact that you won or lost, that the fact that you did it in the first place.
Correct. And let's talk about this Elizabeth Kubler-Ross thing. And so Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, these are often known as the stages of grief. She never referred to them as the stages of grief. I think of them more as the stages towards acceptance. And Joe referred to DABDA, and that's the acronym with which we can use to remember the stages that lead us towards acceptance. Now, this is not a hard science. These don't exactly always follow one from another. First D is denial. Denial works. I'm trying to think of get a letter. You get a letter from I got a bill from the state of Washington that I didn't pay a car toll. I was like, I never drove in that. What are they talking about? That's not true. I remember when my grandmother's brother passed away, we told her, we went to her house and we said, Murray died. And she said, not my Murray. Denial. Whatever it is that happened, we say, oh, that didn't happen. Oh, I lost my book agent. No, I didn't. I did. But my thinking is, no, that didn't happen. Then there's this one. A lot of us get stuck here for a long while. Anger. The fucking people in Washington State are going to send me a bill? Anger. I can't believe my book agent. What the hell's wrong with her? Anger. Bargaining. Oh, maybe it's for the best that I didn't get this book agent. Maybe this is actually better. I'm going to wind up with a better book agent than I had before. Oh, I can't think of the Washington toll one on bargaining. Maybe I'll send them $2.12 instead of the $2.50. That's the wrong kind of bargaining. But bargaining is, this might be for the best. This might be for the best. And then depression. I don't even want to think about the book agent right now. Depression. And then finally acceptance. This is a fantastic 5 points to use when you're looking at anything that's troublesome in your life right now. You can just think, where am I on this list of 5 things? And just to have a little bit of compassion. Well, that's where you are. There's no rush to get, well, no exact rush. Uh-oh. Do you know what just happened?
What happened?
I covered up all the answers.
Oh, you did.
I did.
You did.
Well, let's take a moment to see, do you remember them? D-A-B-D-A. The first D stands for? Denial. This didn't happen. There's no way that happened. Then, often after denial comes? Anger. That fucking thing happened. I used to teach this to my students all the time when I can't believe Mr. Z gave us an exam. It's so not fair. I hate Mr. Z. I can't believe he's making us write a 40-page paper. Bargaining. Well, maybe if we get it done early, he'll let us out early. Bargaining. Next D, the second D in the set is?
Depression.
Depression, not wanting to deal with it. And finally, there is? Acceptance. Acceptance comes in 2 flavors. And our friend Hugh taught me this. He says that there's a very large, that it's only 18 inches from our head to our heart, but sometimes that's a very far distance. Acceptance happens often mentally first. Well, I know I should be over it. Mentally, and then there's the heartfelt acceptance. Good job. I want to teach us a new thing today. It's all right if we move on? Can I teach you something I just learned? I learned this one and made me so happy. Here's a way of giving compliments. And I'll tell you, I was thinking about giving a homework assignment to everybody. So here's your homework assignment. I want you to do this for at least one person in the next week. In the next week, I want you to find one person. And do y'all know, I'm going to teach you a acronym. And the acronym, you know Dallas-Fort Worth Airport?
Mm-hmm. Love field.
This is going to be DW, Dallas Fort North, D.F.N. It's just like Dallas Fort Worth, but it's Dallas Fort North. The other way I remember it is I have a cousin, Darren Fetter, and his middle name's Neil, D.F.N. I don't know how you're going to get the letters D.F.N. into your mind, but those are the letters you want. When you give someone a compliment, see if you can't get it. This is the work of Marshall Rosenberg, who wrote Nonviolent Communication. And this is a technique of his. He says, when you give a compliment, see if you can't get these 3 parts of the compliment in there. What the person did. How what they did make you feel. I love that you held the door open for me. It helped me to feel respected. A silly example, but and then what is the need that was met by what they did? I love that you held the door open for me. It made me feel respected, and it gave me a sense that I am cared for. That in any compliment, we can see if we can get these 3 DFNs in.
Say that again, that third one.
The third one is what need in me was met by the thing that they did.
Getting out of the room.
So let me try it and see if I can do it just with what you just said, Emily. Emily, I love that you asked a question. It made me feel like you're paying attention, which helped me to feel respected as a teacher.
Got it.
I'm going to just take a little moment there for, hey, hooray for me for using a live thing as it just happened. So, and Nancy Joe for clapping and giving all the fingers and of waving around. Thank you for Nancy. Thank you for your demonstration of appreciating what I taught. It made me feel respected, which gives me a sense that I'm not just whistling in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
I got one here.
Mm-hmm.
Resica? I don't know if I'm saying the name right, but Resica just posted up a great job. So let's see if someone else wants to give one a try. Anyone feel comfortable enough to give a try on our... Oh, let's do a quick little... See if you can remember them. D.F.N. The first one is...
Did the person did
what the
for
person
you.
did. The second one is...
How it made me feel.
How it made me feel. And folks, those of you who are saying it along, that's fantastic. It's a great way of learning. It helps us to learn to do things in multiple modalities. So you hear it, you see it, and then you say it. There's all different ways of keeping us learning. So what you did,
How I felt.
how I felt about it, and the last one is
What
What
need was met.
what need was met. Wonderful. So your homework is in this week to tell somebody, hey, I want you to know there was this thing that you did. This is how it made me feel, and it met this need of mine. And my hope is that next week I'm going to start. And Maria and I sometimes, there's Maria. Hi, Maria. Maria and I sometimes joke. Oh, that's not true. We often joke. And I thought Maria and I were joking about the fact that statistically, religion outside the box right now is serving 0.00% of people's spiritual religious needs. And Jordan, it's 0.00%. If you take the world's population, when you divide out the number of people who are showing up here, we are officially serving. And Jordan, I don't like to always, but you do have a degree in statistics and you know stats. So can you verify that religion outside the box is serving 0.00% of the world's population?
I concur. Yes, Brian.
So what I thought was that if next week we can say that we've added in, let's say there are, how many people do we have? 34 people who are live right now. If we've added in 34 compliments and moments of appreciation, we could add that in. So it could be not only are we serving this 0.00% of people, but we are now up to 34 moments of appreciation. Okay, this seemed a lot funnier to me when I was thinking about this than it seems to be to all of you, and I'm okay with that. Go ahead, Bob.
Is it possible to increase that ratio by considering the effect of what we experience here and how that experience is transferred out to other people?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have at least 34 moments of appreciation by next week. And then that should grow. And if we go from there, we should have 68 the week after that. And then we're going to have to start going to 112. The math is going to get involved. It's going to be amazing.
What I meant was that not that it would bring more people into this,
right?
But that the growth that we experienced was shared with other people outside of this group.
Yeah. The kind of the butterfly effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there was a quote we had 2 weeks ago, maybe it was. And it was that in movies, in sci-fi, they're always worried about time travel in the past, where a small action in the past will have dire consequences for the future. And the quote said, we hardly ever consider that a small action right now could have dire consequences for the future. I think that's what you're getting at, Bob, is that I'm going to say this. We can literally affect the world by adding in 34 moments of appreciation in the next week.
Not sure that I'd use the word consequences.
Okay.
But I think that I'd rather say effects.
Okay, we'll have effect. We will have effect. And we hope to God it will be a positive effect.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Anne.
One of the things that I was thinking about is it's not only counting that matters. Like, is it 34 effects or consequences or impacts? It is also the strength of the impact on that person. Because I did this 2 weeks ago with someone who was helping me with something. And she said, whenever I hang around with my son and daughter-in-law, I feel so stupid and like I'm not worth anything. And I said, okay, hold it right there. I am a good manager. I am a good dean, and I know how to evaluate people. And you have a brain. You are very smart. I know this. I hire people. You are very smart. And I laid it on, and she just said, oh my God, that's why I like to hang around you, because you make me feel like I have a brain.
Wonderful.
So the impact, and I've been thinking about that. The impact, I mean, for me, it was like, just hang on. She's my friend. I can do this. Just hang on there. And the impact on one person, it's not only 34 people, 68 people. It's the impact on one person can save their life.
Yeah. I hope we all know that I'm kind of teasing about the 34.
Yeah.
This is a larger thing. Now, that all being said, I don't have that screen that has the words on it anymore. What were those 3 letters again? Do you remember them?
D.F.N.
D.F.N, like Dallas Fort North. D.F.N. And it happens to be that tomorrow is somebody's birthday. Well, obviously it's somebody's birthday because there's a lot of people around. But it is a special person's birthday in Religion Outside the Box land. And I'm going to spotlight that person right now on our screen. There's our friend Joe. And I was thinking that possibly Joe has a request of something that she wanted to do for her birthday. But before we get to have Joe give us the gift of what she wants to give us for her birthday, I was wondering if anyone's willing to do a D.F.N. and see how well they can have that come out on our friend Joe. Is there something that you can say about Joe, of something that she did, or something that she does, how that makes you feel, and what need it is of yours that gets addressed by her doing so? Jeff Horner. Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
One day we'll have to talk about the spots you found in Ireland.
Well, let's not do that right now.
I understand.
Okay.
Joe wears her empathy on her sleeve. Joe is very cognizant of the people around her and very much wants to relate to them and be relatable from them.
I love that. Thank you, Jeff. Someone else?
Thank you, Jeff.
Welcome, Joe.
Someone else want to chime in on what it is about our friend Joe? I can't see hands up. So, there we go. Ray, go ahead.
Joe, you love yourself enough that you are willing to speak up when you think that you have been offended and to accept an apology and do it with grace and good humor. That's a good quality.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. And Steve, what do you have?
When Joe used to lead the main group afterwards, she was part of the making everyone feel welcome movement because she didn't allow anybody to get away with being ignored in the course of the hour and made sure that everybody was encouraged to become included.
Thank you, Steve.
Go ahead, John.
Joe has a terrific smile and a really infectious laugh.
Yes.
And it always feels like such a welcoming aspect. Anytime we share a screen or she's on the screen, just as she is right now. And it just feels like so welcoming and so appreciated.
Thank you, John.
And go ahead, Nancy Joe.
Well, hello, Joe. I just met you today, and I can say that in this group of 34, immediately you jumped out at me. Well, now I see you have the same name I do. However, you jumped out at me because of the things that other people have said. Very welcoming, very pure joy, emanates from you. And that makes me feel very comfortable being here, that I am amongst a group of people who emanate joy. And that has met my need of coming to this group today and wanting to feel joyful and wanting to come back again. So thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you, Nancy Joe.
I'm going to take a turn. Hi, Joe.
Hi.
There's something you did weeks ago, and it was referred to that you used to host the after show. You and Maria would do together. And there was something that you did. Oh, the spotlighting me is not going to work. That's going to make a mess. There's something you did, which was you said, I don't want to do that anymore. And you were so tentative about saying so. But what you did was you stood up for yourself.
Mm.
And what that made me feel was that it made me feel honored that you were willing to be safe enough to be yourself. And that gives me the need that it meets in me is that it shows what authenticity does. It shows what being true to your own heart is. And I appreciate that. And thank you for teaching us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. And now, thank you for taking in all those compliments, Joe.
Yeah, that was not the deal. That was not. Yeah, but okay.
No, I didn't. I didn't say. So what Joe said, I said, Joe, would you like people to say nice things about you? And she said, I was kind of thinking I'd like to say nice things about anyone who wants to raise their hand and have something nice said about them. And I said, that's great. What I didn't say was we can do that too.
Okay.
I
see.
I didn't know that you
claws
had
in the claws. It's fine.
I didn't.
It was lovely. It was lovely. I appreciate it. I'm taking it in. I love you people.
So let's see if, and let's give Joe the gift. Is there anyone who would like to raise their hand and have Joe say something? And Joe, you can tell me if I didn't get the words correctly. And you want to say something that you like about it.
I can do the D.F.N for people, yes.
Yeah, Joe wants to practice doing that. So anyone feeling super brave and willing to be vulnerable? Maria? Anyone? Anyone? That's a rough one to do. Go ahead,
I'll
Jack.
do it for Joe.
Well, I don't know whose voice that was.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, Sari. Okay.
Sari?
Go ahead, Sari.
But I'm doing it for Joe.
Oh, you're speaking
And I
to
want-
Joe.
No, you said who would be vulnerable for Joe.
Okay, so you're willing to
And
have Joe say something about you.
Yes, I'm willing to be vulnerable for Joe.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you. That's what I was hoping.
And that takes a lot from me.
Yay,
I appreciate that.
Sari! So what Sari does for me is she makes me feel inspired and encouraged because when I say things, she pays attention to them. Number one, like she actually listens to what I say, which then makes me feel like I have something to contribute and that I have a purpose. And the need that meets is that I feel like if I can do it for Sari, perhaps I can do it for others as well. So thanks, Sarah. Thank you.
Of course, Joe, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Beautifully done. And Bob, I see you have your hand up. Is that, I'm assuming that's a volunteering?
Yes, it is. But I also at the same time want to let Joe know that I always enjoy seeing her and her wonderful spirit. And I've enjoyed our interactions in the past.
Thank you, Bob. And here's what I'm going to do for you, Bob. What you do for me is always remind me that it's just okay to make mistakes. There are always opportunities to learn. If I had a dime for every time you said that, I would be rich, and I appreciate every time I hear it. And it makes me feel less judgmental about myself, which is a huge need that gets met in me. So I am encouraged to continue to just keep trying.
Thank you, Joe.
I thank you for that, Joe.
You're welcome, Bob. Thank you.
So, Joe, this is just delightful, and thank you for everybody for playing along and trying.
Happy birthday,
Joe.
Thank
happy
you.
birthday, Joe.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Happy birthday.
Joe, you are truly a cornerstone of this religion outside the box experience, and it would be a lesser place without you.
Thank you very much.
And we're going to zoom over to Maria, who has a list of names of people for light and love.
These are the names of the people to, excuse me, lift up and send positive energy to. The Dixon family, Michael and Art, Gary Nelson, Charlene, Greg, Maria and Francis, Mike, Rob, Danny, Kim, the people affected by wildfires in British Columbia and the Northwest Territories, Chris Meyer, Tammy and family, Amanda and Carolyn and family, Sheridan H., Beverly K., Rob B., Randall M., Caitlin and Patty, Maggie's health and her looking for a job in the U.S., Karen K., and Alex. If there is another person in our community we can offer light and love to, please put their name in the chat and I will add them to the list in the clubhouse. And for the people who aren't named but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
Let's take a minute of time now. Thank you all for that minute. I'm going to take an extra round on the how to give a compliment, a moment of appreciation. And I want to shout this out to Carol Ox. Last 2 weeks ago, you sent me a email, and it was it had in it some cold truths, and it was not the easiest email to digest. But your email made me feel seen and made me feel honored. And the needs in me that fills is it just honors me. And I thank you for your continual guidance in trying to help me to bring what I do to a more profound level. So thank you, Carol. Folks, we're coming to the end of the part that's broadcast. As you know, we continue on in small groups afterwards. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you don't get to participate afterwards. But if you would like, we will be doing this again next week. And please do join us at 7:30 when the discussion begins. And I do have a quick announcement to make that I always make, which is this one. Folks, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay not to be okay. Life is really hard, and there are times at which it feels like a struggle, and it's okay to not be okay. Please remember that. Gonna stop our recording now. Everyone, if you would give a wave, I'm gonna put everyone's faces back up there. Let's say goodbye to all of our friends on Facebook, and we'll continue privately, just us.